Hi everybody, welcome to our Q&A session on portfolio submission. I was going to wait for everybody to come in. There's over 160 people registered this evening, so just give us another minute, please. Thank you. So this evening we have Ronan O'Murhala, who is the head of faculty for Film, Art and Creative Technology. We have Peter Evers, who's a lecturer in photography. He's actually a lecturer in graphic design and visual communications, but he is a photographer, excuse me. And Anne Farrell is our admissions officer at IADT. So we have a good group of people to answer some questions, and we will also have one of our first year students, Casper from Interaction and User Experience Design, joining us this evening. He's been through the digital submission process, so we've invited him along. He'll join us later on. Okay, so we've already got questions coming in, so we will answer questions during the session, but we'll let Ronan give an overview first, okay? Ronan, if you want to fire ahead.
Cool. Hi, everybody. As Sonia said, my name is Ronan O'Murhala. I'm the head of faculty of Film, Art and Creative Technology. So a lot of the portfolio programs, in fact, all of the portfolio programs fall under this faculty. I'm going to, I don't have a presentation or anything else like that, and this is much to answer your questions, but I will just go through the platform, the online platform, and give you some advice and just some information around that, show you that, walk you through it a little bit, and talk you through some of the key bits of information that I think people generally ask questions about. And Peter, you would have gotten it in the email. It's there on the website as well. I'll show you some information from the website. Peter and two of his Viscom students, Alana and Emma, did a really helpful video on how to photograph your work. So it's only 3 minutes long. I really recommend you have a look at that because it'll help with a lot of the questions you may have as well, because it is a funny way of presenting your work, because I'm sure a lot of your work is physical, or you've drawings, or even 3D work, or even photographs that you've taken, you've printed off and stuff like that. And how do you kind of upload it and how do you present it? People, I'm sure, will have lots of questions around that, so I would be happy to answer them. So I'm gonna go straight. Hopefully I'm showing my screen now. Yeah, that's me. You don't want to look at that. I'm going over here. So hopefully, Peter, maybe you can confirm you should be able to see my web browser. This is the awards platform.
Yeah, I can see that.
Website. You can see it. Great, thanks, Peter. So you can see it here. This is where you go. So it's idt-portfolio.awardsplatform.com, and there's a link on the website. On the website, there's a whole section on digital portfolio submissions. There's a link to it on the homepage. So I'll just go back here. There's a link on one of the tiles here to click through, and there's loads of information there. Helpful tips is a link to a kind of a PDF thing you can do there. That's the link to the Awards Platform website. You can see it's linking straight through. And this is the video I spoke about. I think that's the video the guys had made, or is it that one? Okay, there's lots of videos anyway, and there's me talking for 18 minutes about portfolios. If you're really bored, you can do that. But there's some helpful stuff in there as well, hopefully. So I have a login. I use my Gmail address. I have a staff access as well, but I use my Gmail address as I would as an applicant applying for the program. But you need to register. Obviously your name, last name there, your email address, mobile telephone number. You create a password, and it'll ask for your CAO number as well when you're logging in. So you need all those numbers when you're registering for the first time. But I've registered already, so I'm just going to click in and log in. I'm forbidden from going there, so obviously there's something there. So this is the way you'll end up when you're landed. This is the basic information you get. There's dates. The entry deadline is really important. It's March 18th. That's next Thursday at 5 p.m. GMT. So that's going to be really important, and we'll have the portfolio scores as soon as we can after Easter. That's the plan. And there's lots of information here, kind of support available, and if you have any questions, you can always contact info@idt.ie if you have any questions, and we'll endeavour to help you. There's information on specifications on files and stuff like that. So So when you're doing a submission, it is a really intuitive system, but I'd recommend you before you do a submission, you get into it and you sort of click on buttons and see what happens and get used to the system. Now I've already done for myself, I did a mock application for television, but you can do multiple submissions. So even if you're not happy with one you did, you can start again. So you'd start your submission, hit that button, and you have to select a category. The minimum entry requirements are there for all our programs. And you pick either advanced entry, some of you may be applying for advanced entry, that's for later in the year, or the undergraduate applications for 2021. And then it'll ask you to pick a program. So I'm going to go with animation now, and then it'll give you a little bit of information about animation. A box pops up, even if I'll change it now to design for film, and a different box pops up with information there. So, it'll allow you to do that. And you can give your project a title, your name is perfect, and perhaps even you could put in your CAO number there to help us, but there's no need for that. Your name is perfect. And then you go save and next. Here, then it'll ask you to, so you've got different tabs. You can flick around between the tabs and do different things at different points. But the first thing, that was our details. So we've just done the basic information there. And then CV. So you just select a file. Generally, a PDF is a good idea, but it'll bring you into your, I'm a Mac user, but it'll bring you in and you can just select files then that you want to upload. But it's reasonably straightforward. Let's see if I can find a CV belonging to me somewhere. I have so many files, it's not funny. Where's my CV? My CV is in here. I'm going to pick an ancient CV, goes back in time, and I'm going to go open, and it'll upload it there. And it's processing, as you can see, it's uploading. But a PDF is a really good way for handling documents, and generally PDFs are a really good way of presenting work. And then you go save and next. You can close it, you can preview it, you can do all sorts of stuff there. Save and next. So I'm going to go personal statement. Now this is the box where you put your personal statement. It gives you a max of 800 words. I think there's a question from before. Can you put in more? Obviously, right here you can't put in more. I mean, it's 800 words for as much for a reason, so that you can be concise and focused. And what we're looking for in your personal statement is really much your statement about you. Who are you? Why do you want to apply for this program? And why are you passionate about IDT or coming to IDT? Why are you passionate about this discipline? Why do you want to be a graphic designer? Why do you want to be a photographer? What is it you're interested in? And tell us a little bit about, evidence to back that up. Did you, it's great to see people who've had a passion for something for a while, or maybe you've just discovered it and you've just discovered that this is the way for you. That's all fine too. It's just, we want to get a sense of who you are as a person. And then you'll have to check this box just to confirm that I'm the author. So I'm going to just put in here, I love film. That'll do for the moment. I confirm I'm that, and I go save and next. And then you can start to add attachments. And this is basically, again, this is where you start adding PDFs. So again, as soon as you click through, it'll ask you to sort of pick things that you've got there. So I'll talk a little bit about that now in a second, but basically you can add up to 25 attachments and add video links as well. So the attachments here have to be up to a maximum of 5 megabytes, which isn't enormous. So, but you could arrange photographs, for example, on a series of PDFs and lay them out in a particular way and compress them and do, and get them down to 5 megabytes. But there's loads of scope there for adding lots of different work in different ways. But you could have multiple pages in one PDF if you had, for example, a script or a series of drawings that you've scanned or something like that. You could easily have multiple pages as one attachment. So the big thing there is one attachment that you add doesn't have to be one single page. It can be multiple pages, or it can be one page if it's something particularly big or something you really think needs to be at a high resolution. You can also add a link to a video, and that's a Vimeo I particularly recommend, but it can also be YouTube. If there's, for example, if you're putting in a film or a piece of video work that you've done, or indeed a lot of people for notebooks and sketchbooks and things like that, if you want to just show the broad range and on everything you're doing, you can just video the sketchbook and go page by page and show us it, and we'll watch the video and have a look at it. But there's other elements here. Videos can be included in your profile as follows. Videos should be updated. So there's another option here to add in information about the videos. And then you can preview the submission. So there's my CV. my personal statement, obviously that would be longer, and basically stuff you'd be placing. I can go back to my application. Let's go I'm going to add a photograph here. So I'm going to go into my pictures, because hopefully I don't find anything too embarrassing. There's something from our TV studio, so we'll go for that. You can, when you put in the image here, you can see you can add in, you can order images if there's multiple images. You can give a little bit of information about it. Image of work in progress, visual research, we'll call that. You can put in a caption or other information there. And then you can continually add multiple links, and if you like, and you can see there's a delete button there, so if you don't like it, you can put in. But as I said, there's a preview button here, which will allow you to preview the work. So you can see it pops up there as a page, and you can see it, and we can have a look at it. And the information comes up beside it. But we can go back into this one. It pops up when we have a look. So you can see, look, it does lots of things for you that allows for a lot of information. I'm going to put in a little caption for this. Photo of studio. Save and close. And it's gone right back out. So there's that's one submission is there, and there's another submission I did before. I'm going to go back into this and see what it looks like. Again, we're going to preview it this way. And you see a photo of studio, the image caption came up there, so a little bit more information. So, you play around with it, you can work with it, and it just pops up as kind of as different elements there on the page. And as you can see, I have multiple submissions on the go at the one time. I have 2 here, and I can start another submission. If you're applying for multiple programs, you're going to have to submit for different ones. So you have to go right back, undergraduate. Let's say I'm also applying for art, and then you can save next. And now I'm back into another submission. And I'm going to save and close. And you can see there's a 3rd submission there, one for art, one for design for film, and one for television. So you can see you can have multiple ones on the go. And indeed, there's a button here I think allows you to download the whole thing as a PDF. So you can have your own portfolio, you can bring it back down. So there you can see it comes up as a PDF. And so if you want to keep a record of it for yourself, you can download it. File formats are there. It's listed. Images should be in JPEG, TIFF, or PNG, or indeed PDF files. I recommend against kind of pages files or Word files or things like that, because they tend to just not stay the way you like them or the way you want them, and they get if you're looking at them on different machines or different from a PC to a Mac or something like that, you don't know what's going to happen to them. But you can be comfortable that a JPEG or a PDF will stay as you set it up to look like. And then just jumping then again to the website, as I said, there's lots of information here. There's the portfolio guidelines booklet is here. If you click on that, there's a booklet with all the information, all the different programs. There's actually quite a lot of information on all the different programs. So look, and the specific requirements that they're looking for in each of the programs in the portfolio. So I recommend you have a look at that and have a look through that. The watchword really is, it's not a quantity. We want to see a broad range of your work and have a really good sense that you're doing lots of stuff, but don't overdo it. Be careful of that, because so much of it is about your own choices and your own. I'm going to just come off that now for a second. Hopefully that'll turn off. Am I the only one on camera? I am. There's Peter back again. Hey, Peter. I don't know if there's anything there, Peter, I missed out on, but just to say, yeah, that be kind of like be selective a little bit in terms of like, because the choices you make say a lot about you in terms of what you're interested in and things like that. I'm gonna go through a few of the questions here. I don't know, Peter, if was there anything else I missed? I think I covered everything there, did I?
Yeah, pretty good job, I think. Yeah.
So just
there was one thing. It's okay to talk over your video. That's fine too. So like if you want to sort of, and then I did this, and that's fine too, just in case you wanted to know that. And when if you're videoing something like a notebook or your portfolio, and there's bits that you want to zoom in on, that's fine too. So it's okay to zoom in on features and all that sort of stuff in case you're wondering about that. Yeah.
Okay, dokie. There's some questions coming in, so I might, but this isn't cooperating with me at all now. Dara O'Shea, how are things? Things are fine. Good to talk to you. Aideen Costly, Aideen, is there anything special that could be added to a portfolio that would really set it apart from others? Yeah, no, really. I mean, there's nothing we can. I mean, I found a portfolio once with a banana in it, so don't put a banana into it. That doesn't really help. Because it was a bit smelly by the time we got to it. And obviously you can't put a banana into a digital portfolio, but you know what I mean. No, I mean it's not. I mean, I wish there was some. You know, there's no magic formula, I'm afraid. Like I mean, and there's no kind of magic bullet even. We really are looking for a sense of yourself and your sense of your creativity and your curiosity, and hopefully that will shine through. I look certainly, you know, when we're looking at these things, those things are as much important. Like we basically score the portfolios in 4 blocks of 150 points. So one is about your creative ability, one is research, one is that it's subject specific. You know how closely aligned it is to subject. Technical ability, creativity, research, and course specific. So it's those four 150s. Will the points from last year stay the same as this year? I take it you mean the points for the programs. We've no control over that at all. The points go up and down every year. It's based on the CAO and how many people apply for the program and various other factors. So we don't have any control, but they tend to stay in and around the same kind of thing. I'd watch out for film and the new degrees in film and television. We're taking, while there's more now, there's 40 between the two programs, and they are individual programs, so the points will probably go up for film. What day we find out about the project day score? We're hoping with a couple of weeks after Easter. That's the plan. But as soon as we can, we'll get them to you. What is the closing date for advanced entry? So advanced entry comes through the CAO, and Farrell is on the call, and she probably will be able to answer that. I don't know the closing date for applications for. We can't hear you, Anne. There's the microphone button.
Sorry, yeah, I believe it's the 30th of April for the portfolio courses, and it's the 31st of August for the other courses.
Okay, cool. So that's also a portfolio process that's for that, and there's information about the website about event that's into second year and sometimes third year of some programs.
Sorry, Ronan, just going back to one of the questions there.
Yeah.
I think it was, what date will we find out the project day score? It wasn't portfolio score.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry. Oh, project day score. Soon, within the next few days, I'd hope. I think Sian nodding there. Should be able to get. We should get that out to you. But keep working on your portfolio. That's what I always say, because it's always something you should be doing as well. Where do we put the table of contents? So that would be one of the first uploads, I would imagine, as a kind of a document, perhaps, that you'd put up. You saw where I uploaded the photograph. You could upload a table of contents there. That'd be a perfect place to put it. When will we get the project day points? Will we get an email, or should I check the awards platform regularly? You won't get the points in the awards platform. I think, Anne, the points will be sent out.
We'll email them to the. So keep an eye on the CAO address, the email address attached to your CAO account, because we'll send your score to that email address.
Cool. I have a detailed back G of myself in my 800 words. So what should I put in my CV? Your CV is kind of, again, it's a kind of a chance for you to give us another sense of yourself, the kind of things you've done. Like it's not like a job resume. It's more kind of things that kind of highlight your abilities in the area. I mean, if you've done particular programs or particular courses in the area, but even things like have you been in a band? Have you even the fact that you've been in jobs shows that you're a hard worker and that you're committed. And that kind of stuff. So something, just anything that helps us build a picture up of who you are and what you've done and what you're interested in. Should we add a contents page to the portfolio? Yeah, contents is really helpful. Anything that you can help us to help us. One of the first uploads could be a table of contents, and could help point to the different things. And you can use your table of contents to kind of help us to kind of like, it's a great way to sort of rank it. There's no problem you putting in like, look at this first, or read this first, or this is because it helps us to cut, bearing in mind that we'll be looking at a couple of hundred of these. So anything that helps us to get really to the stuff that you think is really good, that helps. Should we add, content space? I just did that one. Is it okay to have a link in the PDF only, or should you also add it as a separate link? If it's a link to a video, there's a place to do separate links. You can put in links to, if you have a web page, or you don't have to have a web page, but some people do. I don't. I keep meaning to do one, but I don't. But if you have, or if you have social media, an Instagram account, something you think we should be looking at, all of that is all part of it if you want. And you can put that in your table of contents, or you can put it in, help us to find it. Put it somewhere where it's kind of front and center. Can you upload your entire portfolio as a single attachment? I have multiple artboards in just one file for convenience, but they're separate pieces. Peter, you're nodding there. I don't actually quite understand the question.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So as long as it's not one big long page, if it's sort of separated out into pages, it can be one document. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, just once it's under the, need to come in under the 5 megabytes is the only thing, So maybe it depends on what size it is, and whether when you compress it, whether you're going to lose quality. So it might be that you're better off spreading it across 3 pages or something like that. But I would have no problem with one document. Yeah.
I mean, if think about it from somebody coming at it cold. I mean, if it's going to make it harder for them to find your best work, then maybe you need to kind of divvy it up a little bit. But again, like we won't we do our very best always to try and find stuff. We always go digging. And what is the maximum length of the videos we can submit, like a sketchbook, notebook, flip throughs? There's no maximum really, but I think we recommend something like 3 minutes, don't we, Peter? Or generally.
Yeah, I think that should do it. You don't want to go overly long. If there's a little bit of explanatory sort of stuff and you need to do that, that's fine. But we don't need to. Like say for example, you've got 5 sketchbooks. If some of them are a little light, like just a quick, like with sketchbooks, we don't necessarily need to linger really long on a spread and stuff like that. You can choose how long you linger on a page for how long we should sort of look at it. So with sketchbooks and stuff, like there can be really interesting stuff in there. So I wouldn't flick through it. Do you know what I mean? But don't go super duper slow, particularly if it's just sort of quick work and stuff like that, and it's not sort of showing a lot of decisions and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that helps as an answer, but you can keep it sort of concise enough without it becoming Ben-Hur. There's one for the teenagers, a reference for the teenagers there. Right, a film from the 1950s. Yeah. Okay.
I've never actually sat through it. Regarding the film course, is there any specific content that should be in each piece? And does it have to be something we filmed, or can it be a script? It can be any of those things. I mean, generally, the key thing we're looking for in film and in television is your storytelling ability. So, when you say stuff you filmed, where we're really looking out for, technical ability is one thing, but storytelling ability is the real big thing. So, so if it's nice pictures put to music, that's fine, and it's nice, and it might show your ability as a cinematographer, but really it's storytelling ability. So that's why we say a drama or a documentary, a small like short film or a documentary, or for the television degree it could be a news piece about or something. And we know we do know that it's been a global pandemic for the last year, and that you may not have been able to shoot something like the quality that you wanted. But I suppose that's we'd hope that helps you to almost like to do something small and interesting, and just something in your home that you do over a course of a weekend, like something. But we'd love to see those kinds of, again, you're telling a little story over in like shorter and sweeter is often much more better storytelling.
I might follow up with you, Ronan, and there. It's
Please.
like, are storyboards good, or little like photo plays and things like that? Because they would be sort of story.
Yeah, they
narrative.
do. I mean, as a support, really more than like you can include scripts, of course, that you've worked. It's good as well to make sure that just they're in the correct format. But storyboards that go towards that. I mean, when generally speaking, somebody would submit a finished piece of work, at least a finished piece of work, and then they would have supporting material to go with that, so that it shows your process. That if you start with an idea for a film, you're starting with a blank page, and you end up with a film. But there must have been kind of, research work you did, or did you write a script or sketch, or do you have call sheets? Did you have storyboards, as Peter mentioned? All of these things go towards us showing what you're trying to do. And one of the things we look for in film in particular, and I think it can apply to in many programs, is that you do a reflective piece on the work. So write a few paragraphs about what was good, what didn't work, what did work, what would you do differently in the future, and what were you trying to achieve? And that generally each upload is kind of corresponds to every finished piece of work. So there's an upload that shows all this work coming together. Table of contents as our first upload, or is one necessary? Table of contents is always helpful. It just helps us to navigate what you've put up. Should I touch each portfolio page individually, or should I make a PDF? Yeah, you can do either. Generally, if let's say you have a collection of photographs or a collection of images, I think it's better to put them up as one PDF. So there's 4 or 5 pages, and because they're all connected, so there's a connection between them. But if it's a particular image or a particular drawing or a particular something that you particularly want to really focus on, then you could upload that on its own. And so a little bit of it is as much about your mounting of your work. So I'll speak in images again, but so let's say you've 3 portraits, but you've them nicely arranged, so you could put them together as almost a little photo book. And then you think about the caption. What story are you telling here? Have you any advice on that, Peter?
Yeah, just exactly what you're saying. So sometimes you might have a collection of pictures that are sort of they talk to each other, so it makes sense for them to be on the same page. Like if something is a diptych, 2 pictures that need to live beside each other, or a triptych, or as a collage, obviously that it's better to be seen that way. So, and there is a portfolio is kind of a document, and how you lay it out can be sort of part of something. It's not necessarily something that we aim at scoring. But if there's a nice job done of the layout, it does come into sort of effect in how, well, particularly for our course for graphic design, if it's well laid out, and the images are talking to each other in nice ways, and we're able to consider what we're supposed to be considering, it really is helpful for us, and it can be something that we do take into account if it's done. It's not something that we actually look for as far as marking. So you can put stuff up in single form. My sort of feeling on this sort of stuff is always put your best foot forward. Do you know what I mean? So if something needs prominence and needs to be highlighted and stuff, give it to us in a single form. That doesn't mean that it can't be in a PDF where you've just put one image on that one page, and then the next page has 10 on it.
There's a question here then about samples of past portfolios. We can't, funny enough, it's odd, we can't show you past portfolios through this process. In the past, we would have, like in physical form, we would have brought you into a room and showed you samples of past portfolios. But I've always kind of been reluctant about that. I know it would give you a better sense of what's involved, and that's why I wanted to walk you through the platform there and show you how you can upload stuff and stuff like that. Like, so much of it is just you're placing material and putting it up online. Hi Casper, how are you? Casper, we'll be talking to Casper now in a second. Hey, he's one of our interaction user experience design students, first years, and he would have gone through this portfolio process last year. So we'll chat to him now in one sec. But I suppose we can't show you portfolios, but so much of it is about the portfolio is about you kind of using the platform to help, to kind of present your work. So there's no one way of doing it really. So
could I add a point to that, Ronan?
Of course.
Yeah, so obviously there's a privacy issue with sharing stuff online, and we need permission and all that sort of stuff as well. But like when we were showing or when we do show portfolios when we're on campus and stuff like that, one of the points of us doing it is to show the diversity of the candidates and that there is no one way. Do you know what I mean? There's no necessarily, oh, you have to do that or you have to do that. So we would deliberately try and show that there's diverse personalities, diverse content and different strengths to different people. So really the thing to do is to put, as Ronan says, is to put your own personality forward. You know, like the best way for us to judge a candidate and an applicant is if they put their best foot forward. So for example, like course specific is something that we are looking for, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pay lip service to it, if you know what I mean. So like for graphic design, you don't literally need to write out the word typography or anything, because we'll teach you typography. We're just interested in what you've already made and, you know, what you're comfortable in doing and what you're happy to present. So as I say, as Ronan is saying, there's sort of sometimes there can be a little bit of rubbernecking, sort of looking at what other people are doing. And you know, everybody has a way of solving a problem, and we're interested in you, not in anybody else, right? So when we're looking at your portfolio, it's you we want to look at. Okay, thanks, Ronan.
No, I remember one year in film, I used to be the head of film for a long time, well, not that long, but we showed people one particular portfolio by one particular student who was very good, very accomplished. But we kept getting that portfolio back, and it was kind of, so I'd love to see the individuality really, and some of them are really well nicely designed, and you don't have to go into Photoshop or InDesign or any of that kind of stuff to create the work. There was one I always loved. It was really just like a big sketchbook, and it was all nicely kind of laid out and drawn. So that was kind of nice as well. So there's millions of questions. I'm going to fly through them here, and Casper, I will come to you now. One sec. How should the files we upload be named? Do we need to worry about including our names and CO number in every file? You don't need to worry about that. Keep the naming convention really simple. Something, you know, that as much that you can track. Can we submit artwork you've drawn digitally? You can, of course, but you'll have to photograph it. And Peter has a really great video on the website, and the students, Emma and Alana, who show you how you can do that just with your mobile phone. But you are going to have to either, I don't know if you have access to a scanner or anything like that, but
they may be able to save it out as a JPEG and upload it as a JPEG. If it's a digital drawing. Yeah.
Oh yes. Is it okay to submit the same portfolio for both film and television? Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think you need to tilt the personal statement a little bit differently, but have a look at the portfolio guidelines. There's kind of information there. I mean, film will tend to privilege drama, and television. Film will tend to privilege drama, and television will tend to privilege narrative, factual documentaries, that kind of stuff. But both work for both. How many notebooks should I submit, and should I include each page? You can submit them all. I mean, again, there comes a point where it becomes, you know, there's too many. And as Peter mentioned earlier, like a video of Sketchbook is a really good idea, but don't linger on them too long. We can stop and look at things if we need to. Is there an ideal number of pieces of art to include? No, there's no ideal number. There's guidelines in the portfolio handbook around that, but I think it's as much about the range of types of work and pieces of work as much as the quantity. If you gathered pictures as a sort of inspiration or vision board for a work, should you include it even if you don't own them? Yes, just acknowledge them that this is research work. It's a common piece of work that we all are doing is mood boards and creating, you know, getting research work together. Just so obviously, just as long as you're not passing it off as your own work.
Label it, yeah.
Label it, yeah. What's the difference between a CV and a personal statement? CV is more like a resume, like it's kind of a list of the stuff you've done. A personal statement is more text-based. Does the CV have to have your work history, whether or not it's relevant to the course? It doesn't have to. No, I mean, if you think it's relevant, it helps us get a better sense of you, then include it. But it doesn't have to have, you know, every job you've ever done. Nothing like that. Is the critical analysis required for the written material for example, a synopsis. Synopsis is a really good idea for scripts, and a little paragraph on you know, just kind of talking about it. What were you trying to do? What did it do? Is helpful as well. We're in the middle of quite a long-term project that we will hopefully turn out pretty nice. However, we're not able to finish in time. Can we still send a photo of the work in progress? Absolutely, works in progress are a really good idea, and again are all feed into your process. Do sketches and background work for animators count as separate pieces or all in one? It depends on how you upload them, but yeah, they count as both sketches and background work. They count as separate pieces, and I mean, it depends on how you arrange them. I mean, if you feel like you have a finished piece of work and you can link it all in with the background work, you could upload that as one upload, or you can have multiple uploads.
Sorry, Ronan, it depends on if you mean as a background artist. If you mean background artist work, absolutely. You know, then it is a separate piece, and the animators will know. Again, it helps to label. So if it's in your table of contents, you know, put it in there and say this is background art for, you know, whatever. That they'll absolutely love to see.
Totally. Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite get the question. I might stop talking for a minute and let Casper come in, who's been waiting patiently. Casper is a first year interaction UX design student, one of our student ambassadors, and did this. I mean, bearing in mind that last year was the first time we ever did the digital portfolio. We had to pull it together in an awful hurry, but it did actually work, I think, for a lot of people, and is a really good platform. Casper, how did you find it, and how did you manage the platform and the application? Because it's very much the same as it was last year in terms of what you're supposed to do.
Well, I'm actually surprised you pulled it off last minute then with the online portfolio, because it was actually fairly straightforward. Like I guess it was a bit daunting, like, oh God, you know, I'm submitting this now and it's gone. But you know, as soon as you double check your CAO numbers, double check that your name is spelled correctly and stuff like that, you're good to go. There's really very little room to go wrong. A good idea is, like, let's say if you're submitting I don't know, let's say I was submitting a big document, I had a backup link to it. So like, let's say I submitted a Dropbox link, but I was like, what if this doesn't work? You could always put like a little backup in a comment for like a different cloud service or something like that, just to be double safe. But again, I was submitting like one long piece rather than like multiple attachments. So depending on your kind of work, of course, you might do different things. And then, yeah, I think, can't remember if you got an email kind of saying that, you know, you got the portfolio or you just got the results. It seems like ages ago, but there was definitely some sort of confirmation that it went through. I think you could see it actually after you logged in. What, isn't that the case? You submit your portfolio and you can see the status of submission or something.
Yeah, you can. It'll come up as submitted.
Yeah. So exactly, that takes another worry out. Like, you know, it's there and people at IDT have it, so you don't need to email us being like, did you get it? If it says submitted, it's submitted, and you have nothing to worry about.
I mean, and we, you know, if you have any technical issues, you can contact us directly at info.IDT.ie or even the bot, and we'll pick it up, and we'll do our best to, because we want to find the best people we can. If we can at all, we'll help you even up to the last minute. Casper, Peter, if anything comes into your heads now as I go through these questions, please jump in. Or I know Anne is there in the background as well. We have a question here. Can we include photos for a portfolio if we're applying for film? And can we include multiple photos and one PDF file? Yes, you can, of course. Photos work for film as well, as gives a great sense of your eye. Drawings of photographs and celebrities from the internet are not allowed. No, they're allowed. I mean, again, it's working from a piece of work again, but just label it correctly is the key thing.
Yeah,
second year advanced
your draft skill or your color skill or all that sort of stuff. So it depends on what you're doing to it, you know, like absolutely go for it. Yeah. Sorry, Ronan, cut across you there.
Second year advanced entry. No, going to second year advanced entry in art open for portfolio submissions. Yes, so again, that's advanced entry into second year is available. Again, you have to apply. I think Anne said it earlier, it was the end of April. I think I've already forgotten.
Ronan, sorry,
but it's later.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not on the list.
Art go for it, Sonia.
Sorry, art isn't actually on the advanced entry list. I was just looking that up.
Is it not? Okay.
It's available on the third year entry.
But not second year. Okay.
But not on second year. Sorry.
Maybe the second year art is quite full, I think.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Should we display photography work in the P? No, thanks for correcting that. Should we display photography work in the PDF files, or should we host them on the website? No, submit PDF files, but again, you can include a link as well. I mean, as Casper mentioned there, that you can have a backup and a backup and a backup, and I'm that kind of person as well. Wants to make sure that there's a backup of a backup of a backup. So it shows good. It shows good photographic practice and file practice management. What is it between the CV and a personal statement? We kind of dealt with that. CV is kind of the list, resume, where it's a lot of information. Personal statement is more sort of your passion project. For the photography course portfolio, do you just submit your photography only? No, primarily, I mean, obviously they're looking for a good sample of photography and a range of photographs, but it's also your any other work you do. I mean, that shows you your interest in creativity and being a creative person. Photo books, but even your research work. I mean, sketchbooks are really important for photography, but lots of things feed into that. Do you want to come in there, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything, anything great. There's all sorts of different, there's so many different types of photographer and different ways of solving problems, different ways of looking, different ways of appreciating. I mean,
he was just about to give us the key information there, and he's frozen. Or am I frozen?
I'm frozen, am I?
No, I think Ronan, you froze for me there, so it might have been your connection.
Is it me? Am I frozen?
You're frozen.
Sonia, are you there?
No, I can hear you, Ronan.
We can hear you, Ronan.
Anyway, there's all different types of photographers. So, just anything you feel that's creative and relevant, throw it in. That'd be my advice. Okay. So while Ronan's experiencing his technical difficulties, I'll keep answering questions. Okay. Okay. So I'm worried that if I get 390 in my PLC points and 600 in the portfolio, fingers crossed, this will not be enough. I mean, it is possible. It depends on the course. That's a fair old chunk. That's almost 1,000 points. So I would be hopeful that will get you onto most courses. A couple of courses it might not. In previous years, that's been the case, that it hasn't been enough. But it's few and far between. It depends on the course, really. So yeah. Are you back in the land of the living, Ronan? Can you?
Sorry, I'm back. Was I gone? I was gone. I'm back in the virtual land of the living. Sorry about that. A connection issues here in the house. Okay. The kids must be watching cartoons.
What are you looking for in sketchbooks? I mean, it depends. It does and it doesn't depend. I mean, really, to be honest, like sketchbooks sometimes are the thing that really sells a candidate to us, or an applicant to us. We're not looking for anything in particular. Sometimes we're looking for process. Sometimes things in there are color studies. Sometimes it's draftsmanship. Sometimes it's course specific stuff. Sometimes it's photographs. There's no particular content. As I would say before, it's really, what speaks to you as an applicant, like the kind of things that you're interested in. Or it may be sort of, your research that's brought you from A to B, like where I started with the project and here's where I end up. So sometimes if we see something, a finished piece, we might be curious about how you got there, and in some cases we're more interested in how you got there, so that sort of stuff is really helpful, but it can be quite diverse what's in it. There's no magic bullet.
Casper, we're getting a lot of questions about CVs, personal statements, and sketchbooks. How did you handle those bits? Yeah,
so I kind of use the CV as an opportunity to, because interaction UX is fairly team-based discipline, but also IDT is very collaborative space, as we all know. And I actually was lucky enough to be on a full campus a few years ago and see the whole, feel the whole vibe going. So basically, any previous work experience I had, I didn't necessarily put all of it. And again, if you never had a part-time job, that's also fine. But let's say if you've done any projects before, so film camps or summer camps, summer schools, anything really, put that in. And perhaps if you worked with your friends on a film, say I did this and this, and we worked together in this and this way, or again, it's totally up to you. The CV is kind of another way to kind of tell the people at IDT who you are and what kind of a person, team member, worker, thinker you are. You know, it's really, you're not applying for a job, you're applying for a place at the college. So again, you might think of what courses you're applying for. So perhaps interaction UX might have a slightly different CV to a film course or to a fine arts course. So again, it's about also being selective. You don't want to put everything out there, like I did this and this and this and this and bam, and you know the print is like 6 point because you're trying to cram in loads of things. Just be really selective, but think about how, like, what impression will the CV give. And the same with motivational letters. You don't need essays. It's not a PhD thesis. You just need to tell, look, I'm really passionate about this. I think I'd be a good fit to the course. Blah blah blah. You know, I've done a bit of this. I really like it. It's nothing too complicated. And again, I wouldn't worry too much about it for your portfolio. Think about how it ties in with your entire portfolio as well, not just like a single document, really.
A million questions. I'm going to put our power in as best I can. What do you consider the perfect portfolio for a film? I've yet to see a perfect portfolio. I don't think there's such a thing, but certainly one that shows really good storytelling and your ability to do that is something, and that can come in many forms and in many different ways, through your film, through your script writing, through a combination of all those things, photographs, all sorts of things. So there's no perfect portfolio, I'm afraid. How much different should a personal statement be from applying for both film and television? It's speak to the discipline and speak to the medium and your interest in it, I suppose, but it wouldn't have to be that much different. My notebooks PDF exceeded 5 megs. I divided into 6 PDFs that are below 5 megs. Is that okay as long as I still have enough room for the other files? Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Could consider a video for that and give us a link. You know, if they're that extensive, it might be good to do that and say if it's going to impinge on you, you know, sort of including other stuff.
If the project day score isn't the greatest, is it going to affect your portfolio chances anyway? Not at all. There'll be different people looking at it. Not at all. And even if, you know, and some people do really well in both, and that's fine too. I'm going to apply for fine art, but as well as traditional drawing, I do a lot of sewing and fashion. Yeah, perfect. Can I include a small bit of that? Absolutely. Photographs of those works. Absolutely love to see that. Is it okay for a portfolio to have a theme narrative? Yeah, of course. Good idea. And some people do it that way. But it's not a requirement. And my photography portfolio is all one PDF booklet. Is that okay? Yes, so long as it's under the 5 megs. Yeah, absolutely. Should you include pictures of projects you've worked on in the CV? I don't think so. Maybe a picture of yourself. I don't know. Some people do that, but again, it's not a requirement. Whatever you're comfortable with. I think the pictures of your projects will be better elsewhere, I think, because the CV will tend to be just one sort of Word document turned into a PDF. Can you upload your entire portfolio as a single attachment? I have multiple artboards, and we've had this one before. Yes, you can. It depends on the size, and just be mindful of is it okay for us to read it? For animation, I have to submit a critical analysis on some of my work. Where do I submit this on the portfolio page? As a separate document. I mean, you can just do one critical analysis for all your work, or if there's particular pieces of things that you want to focus on. But that could be a separate upload, or it could be even a part of the PDF that goes with the finished piece of work. So it can be in different ways. Is animation and visual communication available for advanced entry? Animation is not, visual communication is.
Yeah, graphic design is, yeah. Oh, sorry.
But it'll be visual communication because
visual communication.
Advantage.
Yeah.
Is it PowerPoint a suitable way to present our portfolio, or is it better to add in each thing individually? No, PowerPoint is fine. Export it as a PDF. I'd suggest to be easier to manage than uploading PowerPoint. If we have work that's still in progress, yes, please include that. We love works in progress. Should you go through the specifics of what? Could you go through the specifics of what we should put in the personal statements? I think we've covered a lot of that. Again, you know, it's very much about you, your passions, your interests. There's no specifics. Talk about you and point. You can use it as a way of kind of giving a kind of introduction to your portfolio, maybe. And these are all different ideas, different things I've seen, but there's no specifics. In applying for advanced entry and the college doesn't feel the work is up to par, will you be offered an entrance to an earlier year? No, the thing with that, no, they're totally separate processes. So I mean, you could be lucky enough to get an offer of a first year place and a second year place, but you'd know about the advanced entry earlier than you would know about the first year we won't know about that until the CAO comes out at the end of August. Should I make an entire portfolio as one PDF or make each individual page separate? We've kind of covered that. And my portfolio and film is all one PDF. Again, it's okay to include it in one or in multiple. Is there any point in using things such as videos of presentations we've done in relation to the course we've applied for? I'm taking that as a video of a presentation of you giving a presentation, or a video of a presentation like you're exporting a PowerPoint as a video. You can do those if you want, you can. There's no point one way or another. I don't have a view on it, positive otherwise. Again, it's all about the quality of the work. Including a link to a short film. Can I include a showreel link? Yes, you do. But we'll look at the film first. Showreels are a great way to highlight the kind of the best bits, but for film in particular, and for a lot of programs, it's your storytelling ability and your ability to put together a scene. If you've no official work experience related to film, what should I put in your CV exactly? It's about you. Tell us about you. There's nothing you should, don't make anything up anyway. Is it good to have short animations in your portfolio for the animation course? If you have them, yes, it's good, but it's very much about your creativity and your drawing ability that stands out. The artboards I mentioned in the Adobe Illustrator artboards, it's basically like a slideshow. Peter, do you know what that?
Yeah, you can still save that out as a PDF, right? So yeah, so that's all good. Just say it out, but it depends on how big in scale it is, because artboards can be absolutely massive. So it might be that you need to save it in sections or something like that, if you want, rather than it be a massive cumbersome thing where, it is shrink down in size. I'm not sure like if the work is vector based or image based or whatever. So, you need to be careful with how much you're including, the density of it and the quantity, in one thing. Okay.
So is one short film we have done enough for our film portfolio? And if it is not your best work, is that okay? That's kind of hard. Yeah, one short film could be plenty. But if it's not your best work, why are you submitting it? It'd be better to submit your best one if you have it to submit. I mean, it's not unusual for there to be only one film. Are graphics allowed in the CV? Yeah, it tends to be nice and clean and simple. Is my preference.
Yeah, we won't be judging the CV on its
physical
how you lay
quality.
it out. Yeah. It's content rather.
So keep it clean and simple. I would like to submit a film that is around 5 minutes. How long should a short film be? A short film should be as long as it needs to be to tell the story. For the photography course, so 5 minutes is loads. Photography course, how do we show our research? Sketchbooks, videos of sketchbooks, whether you have pages you've scanned or photographs you've taken of your research work, all that gets uploaded as a PDF or a JPEG or whatever. If we attach short film to the portfolio, can we also attach our critical evaluation to the film to show we know where we went wrong and what to prove? Generally with the film, it'll be, or any video, it'll be a link, a Vimeo link or a YouTube link, and then yes, you'd be uploading the critical evaluation separately. What's ideal to put on the portfolio for the film course? We've had this question before. There's no ideal list. Have a look at the portfolio guidelines on the website. So I showed it earlier. There's a link. If you go to idt.ie, there's a link there, a big box there for portfolio, digital portfolio. I'll show it again now in a second, but it'll click through to, and then there's a portfolio guidelines there, and there's lots of information in the booklet on stuff that you can put in for the different programs.
Ronan, I think a lot of these questions are like half an hour old, so they like you've answered them, if you know what I mean. So there's still another. So I think we just gloss over them and assume that people have, because you've done it.
I've heard it at this point. Okay, I'll fly through them.
Yeah.
I'm going to say need 2 critical and some 2 art pieces, and how long should it be? I think it's a critical analysis per piece. I think. Yes, sketch background work. Yes, also, sir, I'm curious. Sir, I'm not sir. Curious to know, is it common to show bits of your notebook to show process and separate? Yes, it is. Video is good. Should we attach a storyboard for film even if we aren't great at drawing? That's fine. It's about your process. For film, yeah. Is it a problem that my portfolio wouldn't have a core theme? No, it's not. If I'm worried if I include work from NCAD portfolio, no, we accept NCAD portfolios. No problem. That's all fine. No problem. Are pick portfolios treated differently than leaving certain ones? No, not at all. Is there a time limit for a short film? No, no time limit. My portfolio has not gained new content since last year. That's okay. I was unable to defer the course. Fine. No, no. You haven't done anything. Present personal statement if you feel strongly enough about it. Reflective pieces, yes, all of that storyboard also to work with your film. Please attach that. Finished piece. For finished pieces, there are certain length, no length for short film. No project in portfolio marked separately. Development work is sketchbook is fine. Yeah, please point out pages. Yes. Is there no option for advanced entry for film? No, there's no option for advanced entry for film or act, I'm afraid. Critical analysis required.
You apply for both, is it, Ronan? Is that the procedure?
Sorry, which is this? Sorry.
Somebody's asked, just because a couple of people have asked about advanced entry. I know it's not available in film, but can they apply? They can apply for both, right? They can apply for first year and.
They can apply for both. They can, yes, they can apply for both. Yes, so long as they've applied in the CAO. Yes. Is a critical analysis required for written material also? Yes, the synopsis and critical analysis is good. How will the portfolio be assessed? I've talked a lot about that, I think. Does everything we upload need to be photographed and uploaded that way so we can upload them as a regular file?
No, you can, like, once, like if it's a JPEG already, you don't have to print it out and photograph it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like if it's already a digital file that's suitable for upload, just upload it. Yeah. Is
it okay to just link to a website that contains all your portfolio content? Yes, it's fine to do that if you want. Yeah, just be very clear about it, that's what you're doing and that's where we're going. Is it necessary to present digital and 3D works in the portfolio for design for work? It's not necessary. No, it's not.
Sorry, Ronan, just on that, the web thing, you know, it might be going back to all your eggs in one basket thing. So if the link doesn't work or if there's some sort of an issue with it, personally, I think it's good to sort of send us the stuff as well, you know. Even if it's a case that you sort of unroll your website and show it to us in that way, as opposed to just giving us a link, you know. Yeah. Particularly if it's not hosted by, you know, a very secure, say, third party. If it's you know, it depends on where it's from, you know, might not be the best thing. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
That's okay, fine. Does there have to be a theme or no? I have digital drawings of sets done. Is that acceptable? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it okay to talk over the video? Yes. What are you looking for in sketchbooks? We've talked a lot about that. How many points does sketchbooks carry? They don't. We've talked about points, but no specific point. Is it okay to say digital artwork? Yes, as a PDF. When it comes to reflective piece on the finished film, should we be submitting a short video that covers our process and thoughts? Or a written paragraph that outlines the process? Usually written, but you could include a video you doing a talk over your film. I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever done that. I don't know. That'd be an interesting way of approaching it. I don't know. I've never thought about it, really, to be honest. We're really, you know, there are no rules, and that's what I keep saying. Are sketchbooks essential? No. I'm planning on showing my best work. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Since the description space is limited to 80 characters, what should you like to see in them? Just a brief title, really. I mean, you can, if you want to write more about it, you can upload other documents to go with it. Is it all right to have a table of contents if you have animation search portfolio? I just think it's good. I think a table of contents is good practice in terms of just organizing things, helping us. I've kind of dealt with that question. Second year advanced entry for art open. I need to check into that. Should we use a storyboard even if we aren't good at drawing? Yes, we talked about that. Should entire development process for designers be put into one image, or would a PDF be more suited? Depends on your development process. If it's sketches and things like that, I don't think an image or PDF matters really, Peter, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It would depend on how much there is to it, you know. So it depends on how long the project was, how many different parts to it, and all that sort of stuff, you know. So it could be just key decisions that you're including or something like that. But there's no, you know, there's no magic length or anything like that. So whatever you feel is appropriate. If you just want to show key decisions, great.
Narrative photography, photo series, good for film. Yeah, that's will work. Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on the quality of the work. Is it all right to include storyboards? Yeah. Are doing animations good for the animation course? Yes, absolutely. Should we submit the critical analysis with each material, or should we make one document in which put all the analysis? That's up to you. I mean, you can. I mean, if there's, I mean, I think it's kind of easier to understand if there's one film and then one upload that goes with that film. But that's just, again, imagine it from a middle-aged boring man like me having a look at it. Would try and make it easy for me. Would artwork apply to a film portfolio? Yes, yeah. I mean, some people do. It's not essential, but I mean, again, if that's part of your process, great. Is it recommended to talk through the sketchbook? If it's not recommended, I'm just saying you can. Can you include poems? Yes, of course. Anything that shows you're a creative person. Can you send films through other ways apart from YouTube or Vimeo? No. How much is too much writing on a critical analysis? Gosh. If you're past page 5, then I would have thought maybe you're on, and depends on the size of the font. But no, I mean, we're not looking for a huge amount. We're not looking for a huge amount, no. As a mature student, what do I need to get on the photography course as well as the portfolio? That's a question for Anne Farrell. Mature student access. We might come back to that when Anne tunes in. In general, for film, what are you looking for? I'm a little confused as to what to send in. Best thing is to go to the portfolio booklet. There's really good guidelines there, but it's like everything else, but a finished piece of film work plus the supporting material is generally what we're looking for. But if you have a look at the booklet there, there's a list of the kinds of things you can put in. I don't mean to confuse you, but again, we're trying to get evidence of your storytelling ability, and there's lots of ways of showing us that. And should we include all of the work for a short film in one attachment? I talked about that. Is it possible to get full marks? Yes, it is. Can I include my sketchbooks as PDF rather than video? Yes. What if we don't send all types of work in our course requires? That's fine too. We just want a good sample of stuff that you're happy with, and that you're confident in. When submitting one movie pieces for film and television, can be half the content be for both courses and the other tilted towards a specific one? Yeah, sure. Whatever way we'll work with what you give us. And mature points, students do the points given for portfolio standing alone against the points for leave saving portfolio together. I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna have to get Anne Farrell to come back on that.
Hi, Roland. Sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
Sorry, yeah, there's a couple of questions about mature students coming in and points and portfolios. What's the process for mature students and how are they?
Okay, so the process for the portfolio courses is, so they'll be scored as usual out of 600 points. And then a number of offers will be made based on basically the portfolio. Okay, a number of mature offers will be made in the earlier July mature offers, okay? So that'll be based basically on the portfolio and the CV and, the digital portfolio submission. Then after that, in the later round, so if you're not lucky enough to secure a mature offer at that stage, you can then go on to compete for places. If you have, say, completed the Leaving Cert or, like a QQI BTEC course where you've met the minimum entry points, you can actually compete then along with Leaving Cert students for places on the course based on your portfolio score combined with any, school leaving exams. So you have two sorts of opportunities as a mature student to possibly get a place.
Great, hopefully that answers the questions. Thanks, Anne. Do you have to put your legal birth name on, this is another one for you, Anne, I think. Do you have to put your legal birth name under everything and on your CV, or can you leave it on your CAO?
You can email us. You can email me into admissions@IATT. If you have any queries about that, and we're obviously absolutely happy, to use, like whatever name that you prefer. So you can just pop us an email to admissions@IATT and then just draw our attention to anything like that.
As your CAO number is on the portfolio, we'll be able to track it.
Yeah.
How do you get your Word from Word to a PDF file? Usually in Word, there is in Microsoft Word, there is an export file to PDF. You can do that. Can we submit short stories for film? You can. But generally it's script we're after more so. Is it okay to have links to films I've directed but I'm applying for animation? Sure, absolutely. Can we, if it is a film course as well, actually animation, the team like to talk about it in those terms. Can we add project day work to our portfolio, please? Yes, you can, please do. I came in late to the call since I was in school, but was it covered in the call how to upload files on the website in animation? It was covered. I might do that quickly once more before we finish, but you literally just go into the awards platform once you've logged in and registered. There's it's really intuitive. It's really, you know, there's tabs there. It'll take you through it, and there's a place there where it allows you to upload your work. Just it's no more than 5 megabytes per file. Can I include a text and image PDF to explain your artwork? Yes. What date is the graphic design course advanced?
Sorry, I would resist overlaying it if that's what you're saying. You know, I'd be more inclined to use it as labels as opposed to sort of like putting it over an image, just to clear that up.
What date is the graphic design course advanced entry? Graphic design, it'll be VisCom advanced entry into second year, and the applications to that are towards the end of April. My sketchbooks are all messy, they usually are. Do you still want to see that? And how recent? Because I have, yes, we do. We love mess. Mess is good too. But like, yeah. I mean, we don't need every sketchbook you've ever done going back to primary school or anything like that. What's the deadline of advanced entry for visual communication? It's not mentioned anywhere on the website. The deadline for advanced entry, Anne was on earlier. It's towards the end of April. Is the film course very competitive this year in comparison to other years? It will be, yes, because of the fact that there's fewer places on film specifically, but now we have 2 degrees, film and television.
I think it's the 30th of April for the VisCom.
30th of April, sorry, thank you. Would a showreel and short film count as one of my 25 pieces? Yes, I think so. If it's links, then it doesn't. I don't think they count. But I've never come across somebody who's had more than 25 things to put up. And if you have trouble with it, you can combine things as well. For the film course, can we include short film we did not shoot or create? But yes, but make sure you clearly state what your role was, that you edited it. That's the important bit that we're looking for. What's your credit? What years is visual communication available for advanced entry? Second year only, I believe.
Yeah.
How long are individual portfolios looked at for at a time? We kind of guarantee at least a minimum 10 to 15 minutes. And for film, because I think this applicant is interested in film, we guarantee we'll look at least 4 minutes of your film work. But we tend to spend more. You know, we tend to dig into them. Bearing in mind that there will be interviews for film and television as well afterwards.
And it's multiple staff members.
Multiple, yeah. There's 2 people,
yeah.
And we try very hard to have gender balance as well. And in all of this, bearing in mind there's an appeals process at the end of all this as well if you're not happy. My portfolio has not gained new content since last year. We've talked about that. Is it okay to talk the video? Yeah, and sketchbooks. Script separate piece, yes, but again, it's supporting the script work, supporting your short film. Gosh, Evan has so many questions. Is the short film is based on something we know quite well? What should we include in the research part? But talk about that. I mean, in your reflective piece, talk about the fact that it's something you knew very well and that you're basing it a lot on your own knowledge. My portfolio is not getting new content. I've done that one already. Is it okay to have research sketchbooks? Yes. What date is the multimedia advanced entry deadline? Multimedia, and I'd say that's new media studies. I'm taking it. And that the advanced entry for that is much later in July. Should I include a link to my YouTube channel? I have plenty of content in there. Yes, you can create a separate link, but I think you should pull out like help us to help you. So pull out the best pieces that you think we should be looking at. Do you accept TU portfolios? Yes, we do. Yes. Do you have to attach a photo of yourself in your CV? You don't have to. No, you don't have to include a photo of yourself. Absolutely, you don't have to. I'm just saying some people do. I don't have one on mine. Are digital sketchbooks fine? Yes. if your portfolio on Google Slides, would you be able to link that instead of separate PDFs because it's bigger than 5 megs? I would do both just to be safe. Oh, how late am I? I thought it started at 6. It happens. How do you guys grade the course specific section? It's out of 150, and again, it's generally how much. I mean, it tends to. I mean, how much the work that you're presenting is connected to the discipline that you're applying for.
You can refer to that document as well, Ronan, the one that you pointed to on the website about the courses and what they're looking for and advice. Yeah.
If someone has a below standard leaving cert points, would they still stand a chance of getting in with a project day portfolio? Yes, it would. Yes, I mean, it depends on the program and it depends on the points. I mean, so much of that is out of our hands, though. It's how the CAO works. Will I be docked marks if no index page? No, you won't be docked marks. We've never docked people. We never docked people marks. And would you like a character analysis for a short film? Yeah, please. It'd be nice. You don't have to, but again, it sounds like something you'd like to write. Can you put in the analysis of certain movies? Yes, I mean, your interest and appreciation for movies is worth doing. Should we upload short story? Yes. Where should we include films or scenes that inspired us? In the personal statement or in the research? I think it's more in separate uploads rather than the personal statement. I mean, you can refer to them in your personal statement, and the kinds of films you're interested in, the kind of stories you want to tell. For animation, 2 storyboards are required. Can they be digital rather than traditional? Yes, but do we need to do them traditionally? No, digital is fine. Just again, I imagine export them as a PDF. Can you explain what critical analysis is? So again, you're writing a piece about your work. So you're telling us about your process. You're telling us how you. I mean, it's kind of coming at it, and you're writing. It generally is only a page at most, and it's kind of the way I frame it is: what was good, what was bad, what would you do differently, what were you trying to do? That you're showing us that you're able to think about your own work, that you're thinking about your own process, and that you're. Because we know that you may not have had access to the best of equipment or the best or time, whatever. Like sound is often a problem on a film, or you didn't have access to the latest whatever version of Photoshop or whatever it might be or something. But you know that even poor work or work you might be less happy about, through a good critical analysis, you can show us that what you were trying to do and where you were trying to get to. If we did documentary work behind the scenes cut on a larger project, yes, please. That sounds like an interesting project. How should I include my critical appraisal, and should I include it as a PDF, as a written document? How's Casper doing?
Still alive.
It's from another Casper. How is the portfolio scored? How do the points work? So it's 4 batches of 150. So I said this earlier. So it's research. I always get it wrong though. Creative ability, research, technical ability, and how course specific it is. I seem to remember you saying we would need to analyze 2 of the uploaded pieces. Could you talk a bit more about that in detail? I think I've covered a lot of that. So it's and it's more peculiar to certain programs. So have a look at the guidelines. But it's no harm to talk about your research and talk about your process for a lot of programs, about how you got to where you got to and what you were trying to do. Is the deadline to apply for other portfolio courses closed? And the deadline for all portfolio programs is next Thursday at 5 o'clock, the 18th of March. You need a critical analysis for the animation course? No, you don't. But if you're talking about your process, you could put one in to talk about yourself and your process. If I'm using a past leaving cert and a QQI, will I get potential offers during round 0 and round 1, 2, 3? That's a question for admissions. I don't know. I mean, email admissions that, or I don't know if Anne is still on the call with us. That's a kind of a complicated one. If we submit more than 1 portfolio, will they be checked as above, as 1?
It depends on what they mean there, Ronan. If they mean if they're uploading portfolios for different courses.
Programs, yeah.
Putting in that way, no, we won't look at all of, like, the program that you submit to will judge one portfolio.
So Peter will be looking at graphic design portfolios. I could end up looking at some film ones, perhaps, or the television ones. But so if they're separate, they'll be different. But I think you can only make one submission per program. When will we find out the points we get for our portfolio? So in a couple of weeks after Easter, so the middle of April kind of thing. Could a 6-part storyboard be submitted as one piece? Yes. Some of my notebooks are not complete or missing pictures. Yeah, work away. Wildlife documentary letters, a short film? Absolutely. How soon would you be contacted for an interview? After Easter. We'll be doing them probably late April, early May. On your CV, do you include your role in the film? Yes, very important. My last question for you, do film and TV applicants get their points before or after the interview? No, it's after the interview. Will there be online or campus classes for the upcoming year? Oh my goodness. We hope, very much hope, we'll be back on campus come September. But that is
You'll
so
receive an education. You'll receive an education. Yeah, yeah.
And the online stuff has worked better than we thought. It was pretty grim in January, I have to say, in the depths of winter, but we're coming out the back end of it now.
I'm really enjoying the work I'm really enjoying the work that the students are producing. I'm not enjoying my own work, but the students' work is great, you know, so it's all going very well. Yeah.
The interviews for film will be online and television, yeah. How many PLC places are available for film course? It's all in the CAO, so there's no specific points for specific programs. Is it okay to include unproduced scripts? Yes. I don't know if you already answered this, but do you accept TU portfolios? We do. Say if I got 600 in the portfolio and 350 in the course requirements, and the course requirements are for 990, but I still be accepted. So that's not how it works. So if you get 600 in your portfolio and 350 in the leaving certificate, then you have 950 points. So it depends on what points end up being in the CAO, whether or not you get offered a place. We have no control over that. That all happens through the CAO. How many critical analysis should we create? It depends on yourself what you feel you need to include. Can I upload a script for a short film that has been? Yes. I'm applying for more than one course of the same portfolio, different colleges. Would that be okay? Yeah, that's fine. Is visual communication graphic design available for advanced entry? I believe it is second year. Visual communication is. Graphic design is a new program, so there won't be a second year for that. Yes. Does animation include interview? No. Am I applying for different colleges with the same portfolio? Is that a problem? No, no problem. Are all film portfolio applicants doing an interviews, or do we have to apply for them separately? No, there'll be a certain cutoff point on that, but we'll be interviewing most people. Are there interviews for film? Yes. What usually happens in the interview? It's really just it's a conversation, an open conversation with you about your work. But it's very, I mean, there's a set kind of number of questions. We have a question bank, and it's very strictly managed around all that. And again, it's with 2 different people, and it's as much about a chance for you to ask questions as it is for us to have a chat with you. But it's very much primarily about your work. What's the highest point you think film could go? I haven't the foggiest notion. Not sure if this has been asked, but do you want all of the work for film under one attachment? We don't want it in any particular way. We just, whatever way you think you can help arrange it so that it's kind of understandable and accessible. No interviews for animation. Will there be any issues with the point increase of this year's leaving cert for people who are deferring? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one, I'm afraid. You could email admissions about that question. How do you apply for the interviews? That you'll be called for one afterwards. Is a critical analysis necessary? No, it's not. And that's the last one. My goodness. So there's an awful lot there. I hope we've covered everything, and I hope we've covered. I'm sorry if we flew through things there at the end, but it was just a lot to get through. But hopefully we've given you more information, helpful information that will help you along your way. I really do encourage you to have a look at the website. There's lots of information there, more videos, lots of guidebooks, portfolio booklets. The last one, Casper, thanks really for sticking with us.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, can you see that there now, Ronan?
Yes, I can, yeah.
One thing, after anybody who went through the project days, I would definitely advise you to go and look at this submission platform today and tomorrow and start, if you haven't already started, start doing it slowly, like review your piece and get your pieces uploaded. Don't leave it last minute because you'd be rushing and have a checklist. Just from experience from the project days, take your time over the next week because you still have a week. You could upload a piece a day or something like that. Casper, how did you approach that last submission couple of days?
Yeah, so I'm that kind of person that if I can do something very early and straight away, I do it and forget about it. I hate to be very last minute. But I remember triple checking everything definitely before submitting and clicking on the links myself. So like, let's say if I had a PDF with links in it, I'd see if they all work. Again, if you want to include backup, check that works as well. And yeah, just kind of making sure that everything is structured and is clear and kind of, taking a step back at your own work and think, okay, does that make sense? If I didn't know what it was, because really portfolio is kind of about being critical about your work to a certain degree and being selective with it. So, I've noticed there's like loads of questions about how many sketchbooks to include. If you think by the end of applying, like you have 3, but only one really brings something into it, maybe it's worth reconsidering. Maybe I can put some other work and then just have 1 sketchbook instead of 3. But again, all of that sort of stuff shouldn't happen last minute. So the portal is open and use it now. And even get used to logging in and checking for stuff. So then when you're actually submitting, you know where everything is. So that's what I did actually. Like, I went there a few times before I even put my first file up just to see how everything works. And again, if you have any troubles with the portal, you can always email info@IDT. But other than that, it's fairly straightforward and definitely don't leave it last minute.
Thanks, Casper. Yeah,
and you can
on
see
the,
there just on the.
oh, sorry. I was just going to
So I was just
highlight
going to
the
say
ask
that.
function.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, the ask function there, guys. You probably use this, get to use this over the next few days. So you just click on that and ask your question, and it's no problem at all. We'll try. If you leave your email address, because I expect it to be very busy over the next few days, make sure you put your email address in it because we will get back to you. Don't worry. If it's not answered immediately, it's only because we have a backlog. So, but we will get back to you. Don't worry.
And you can see there again just the link just to the portfolio guidelines booklet. There's loads of information on the individual programs and stuff like that, and the requirements for each specific program. All right.
And sorry, Ronald, the questions about advanced entry, there's an advanced entry page on the website that has just been updated, and there is some information about the process there, and there is a deadline for submitting, and it does have a list of courses that have advanced entry. Somebody was asking about visual communications. It's not on this list. But Simon, if you want to email info@iedT.ie, we can confirm that for you tomorrow, okay?
If it's not there, probably isn't there, but again, we'll confirm it.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, that's been a lot there. Peter's jumping in there. Go on.
I was just going to say, Ronan, I can stay on if Sonia as host has another 5 minutes, just because nobody asked any photo video questions. So if anybody wants to ask any questions about that, I quite happily do that. As in how to photograph your portfolio.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on with you there,
very
Peter.
quickly?
I just volunteered you there, Sonia. Sorry. Right. Just
lockdown. I've nowhere to go.
Anything like that. So look, we'll give it 5 minutes, and if nobody wants to ask any questions, that's great. as Ronan pointed out, there is a video that Alana and Emma made, and it's really, really good. So, you know, it's just if anybody had anything, that's it there, the guidelines for your digital portfolio submission.
Okay.
Okay, is it better to scan or
No.
take a head photo of the piece? Scans are great. You know, scans are really, really, really high quality. You just need to watch. Size. You know, so scans are really good. You know, you don't have to photograph everything. If you have a scanner, knock yourself out.
Can you see that?
We can, yeah.
My favorite animal, Grace, is a tardigrade. Just in case. It's okay. Well, that's not the kind of question I'm staying behind for, though. So, you know. Okay.
I think there's a lot of information there in the video in terms of if people want
that's grand.
tips on the board.
That scan question is a good one though, because that isn't in that video. So thank you for that, Bronwyn. I was grateful for that. All right. Okay.
All right, listen, I think we'll park it there. Thanks everyone for.
Yeah.
Casper, thanks a million for sticking with us as well.
No
and as well.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, no, best of luck with your portfolio applications. Do try and get something, get it in, and you'll get a sense of it. I mean, for some people, it takes a couple of years, a couple of tries to get in. So, but we'd love to see you hopefully with us next September.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, and this is recorded, so it'll be up on the website tomorrow. So you can look back on it. So if you have any questions, Ronan and Peter are so happy about that.
Peter's doing a week in Vicar Street next week.
Yeah.
All the best, everyone. Thanks everybody. Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Good night.